watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Mark Hall. It's another sunny day in the DMV, and meteorologist Damon Matson joined us now with the latest check on the forecast. Damon, a warm-up on the way.
Oh yeah, Mark, those temperatures are going to be soaring thanks to how sunny it is right now. But there's a storm system off to our west. And when we start to get those warmer temperatures and an approaching cold front, that's usually a recipe for a little bit of shower and storm activity. Check it out. Those temperatures already are hitting our peak from yesterday. The high in DC on Monday was 74. We're already there at lunchtime here today, and the rest of the region following suit here, mostly in the 70s, but as you head into the Shenandoah Valley out toward the mountains, it is already starting to hit the lower 80s in some of the valleys out west, and the 80s are what pretty much all of us will see before the afternoon is done. Now, as we start to get those warmest temperatures, we'll start to notice a few more clouds in the sky, but it does stay quiet. It does stay dry all the way up until right around sunset. That's when a few showers and storms are expected to creep in from the west, with a strong cold front just clipping us by the time we get into the overnight hours. And for some of our western counties, that means there could also be a couple of strong to severe storms with that timing. Here on the severe outlook, that yellow is a level 2 risk for Allegheny, Garrett, and Mineral counties. But notice how that severe threat, it drops off to 0 by the time you get to DC, the I-95 corridor. So any thunderstorms that roll our way today, not going to impact everyone. We'll time out exactly when and where a few of those thunderstorms will be heard and noticed coming up, and a look at your full forecast here in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. Signed and sealed. That was the mayor's reaction, celebrating a decades-long dream of bringing the Washington Commanders back home to D.C. Mayor Bowser and Commanders owner Josh Harris and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced a multi-billion-dollar deal on Monday. We have team coverage of this potentially massive deal. Yamari Sase is in Landover with the latest fan reaction to the deal. But first, our Candace Cole has the details of this agreement.
It's been nearly 30 years since Washington's football team has played here in D.C. on its home turf. So this deal coming together is something Mayor Muriel Bowser sees as a major accomplishment. The deal includes plans to spend $2.7 billion on a covered state-of-the-art stadium that can be used year-round, enough to seat 65,000 fans, complete with a view of the Capitol. D.C. taxpayers will foot at least $500 million of that bill. The district will also put up over $200 million for updated utilities, roadways, and a WMATA transit study for the area. It also includes plans to build about 5,000 to 6,000 homes, about 30% of which will be designated as affordable housing units, and an entertainment district in the surrounding area. The entire project is expected to take 5 years to complete. While many in the city are excited about the prospect of the Commanders coming back to D.C., the plans still need to be approved by the city council, which is split on the issue. Council Chair Phil Mendelson is concerned about public money being spent on a stadium when the city's finances are so up in the air. In a statement, he said the mayor needs to, quote, focus on getting us a final budget. She's on track to miss that deadline by over 7 weeks. And Ward 1 council member Brianne Nadeau says she's a firm no, saying that money could be better spent on schools, housing, and other amenities across the district. But Ward 2 council member Brooke Pinto is hoping her other council members will come around.
This is the single largest private investment that we have had in District of Columbia history. Opportunities for more housing and for retail and hotels to really open up this part of Ward 7 and invite people into it is going to be catalytic for the entire neighborhood and our entire city.
Mayor Bowser will need to get 7 city council members on board in order to see her plans through. Once that happens, construction will start in the fall of 2026. Reporting in the district, Candace Cole, DC News Now.
All right, Candace, thank you. Meantime, in Maryland, Governor Wes Moore already looking ahead to what comes next for Landover. Months ago, he and the Commanders came to an agreement about what should happen if the team leaves. It includes a fast demolition of the current stadium and also facilitating the redevelopment of the area. The governor and Prince George's County officials already have ideas for what the development could look like.
something that's going to be a real live, work, play environment where we are going to involve things like housing. We're going to involve things like entertainment. That's going to be an attraction.
Also, we're looking at other sports venues that could potentially go there.
In a statement, acting Prince George's County Executive Tara Jackson says this is an opportunity for families and small businesses to redevelop the site into an experience that benefits the community year-round. And a heads up, you can find the latest on the Washington Commanders' return to the district on our website, dcnewsnow.com. Well, developing in Fairfax, Virginia, a teenager has been hospitalized after a shooting involving a Virginia State Police trooper. Around 1 this morning, a trooper went to the registered address of a car that fled from police. That's where they saw the teen near the suspect vehicle. Investigators say that they told the juvenile to stay where he is, but he ran away. They say the trooper then tackled the suspect and his gun went off. The teenager was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police say they believe that he has ties to a local gang. And New York Times investigation is shedding new light on January's deadly crash over the Potomac. It's revealing what may have gone wrong in the moments leading up to the disaster. DC News Now's Haley Milan spoke to experts about the findings.
New York Times investigation says poor communication, pilot error, and an overworked controller managing two roles led to the collision of an American Airlines regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter, killing all 67 people aboard the two aircraft.
One little event doesn't line up, then there's no accident.
Aviation litigator Jim Brockley says multiple things went wrong ahead of the January 29th crash over the Potomac River, the deadliest in the U.S. in decades, killing 67 people. This week, a New York Times investigation revealing layers of missteps. Just after 8:40 p.m., the three-person Black Hawk crew conducting a training mission, flying at an altitude of higher than 200 feet, too high for the high traffic corridor, also operating without an ADS-B or real-time locating device, which is standard for Army crews conducting secretive missions. An air traffic controller working double duty due to a tower staffing shortage granted the Black Hawk crew visual separation, allowing pilots to navigate by sight. In Brockley's mind, a dangerous modality during an urban nighttime flight.
It's just kind of ripe for disaster.
The passenger jet approached a rarely used runway, something the Times report claims could have blindsided the Black Hawk pilot. Transmission data show that the controller asked the helicopter to pass behind the jet. Cockpit recordings suggest that radio chatter obstructed that critical instruction. The Army flight instructor told the pilot to turn left, but for unknown reasons, the Black Hawk didn't turn, colliding with the jet 15 seconds later.
At any time, he could have took over and maneuvered it out of the way.
Brockley says the airspace congestion must be addressed.
It's just been by kind of dumb luck that we haven't had a tragedy sooner.
And that helicopter route is closed to virtually all air traffic for now. The NTSB is set to share a final report on the cause of the crash in 2026. I'm Haley Milan. Back to you.
All right, Haley, thank you. Happening now, the largest nurses union in the country is meeting at the Capitol to advocate for Medicare for all. The union will be joined by lawmakers like Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Pramila Jayapal. Now, nurses say that passing the legislation is necessary now more than ever with health care programs like Medicaid. They also say that veterans' health benefits are at risk of being slashed, according to the union. The news conference started at 11 at the Upper Senate Park near the corner of Constitution and Delaware Avenues. And companies could soon be turning to ingredients like beet juice, flowers, and even bugs to make food coloring. This comes as U.S. health officials push to get artificial dyes out of the nation's food supply. Process to change to more natural colors won't be cheap or easy. Officials say that natural color costs 10 times more to make, and it can take 6 months to a year to convert from a synthetic dye to a natural one. Well, Governor Glenn Youngkin is asking the GOP nominee for Lieutenant Governor, John Reed, to step aside over disturbing online content. However, Reed says he's staying in the race. Friday, the Richmonder First reported on the governor's call to Reed, urging him to drop out. The online news site saying that GOP researchers found sexually explicit posts online that they believe are connected to Reade. The Tumblr account has now been taken down, but it reportedly had the same username that Reade's current Instagram account is using. The Wayback Machine, an online archive tool. Our sister station in Richmond found sexually explicit images of other men shared by that account dating back to 2014. Reade says the account is not his, and it's part of an effort to push a gay man off the ticket.
Not going to continue to answer a never-ending parade of questions and false accusations from people who we now know are solely motivated to stage a coup against a gay man whom they didn't want to be their nominee, but didn't have the guts to run against.
And regardless of the claims are true or not, political analysts say that Republicans have to find a way to move forward. He said, experts say that if the current Republican nominee for governor and Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earle-Sears doesn't express support for Reade, it will be very difficult for Republicans to win in November.
I just feel like it's a non-starter to have Reade there and not be running with him. If you're running against him or parallel to him, I just don't see how that's going to be practical.
We reached out to Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earle-Sears to see if she still supports Reade's candidacy, but we haven't heard back.